Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head to Slovenia once again. So this is another beer that was very kindly sent to me by Ajdovščina, so a huge thank you to him for sending over Davor Box Mark II. You're going to see 6 videos from that one of course, and they'll start to appear over the next little while. But we're going to kick off with one of the Slovenian beers that he sent me. So we're returning to Ajdovščina, which is in the southwestern part of Slovenia, and we're having a taste of another beer from Pivovarna Pelicon. So this one is their Quantum Double IPA, and it comes in at 8% ABV. So it should be a really interesting beer. It got a 93 overall in rate beer and a 47 within the style. So that tells you it should be a really quite quirky double IPA. I had a very good experience with these guys with their beer that was called the Third Pill. That was a really random find when I was over in Edinburgh, of course, but I really enjoyed that one, and that is what has kind of kick-started these Slovenian beer reviews. So I hope you guys are enjoying them, and this is one that Davor says he quite enjoys himself as well. So yeah, really looking forward to this one, and I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews I've done from Pivovarna Pelicon before. This is the second time I'm trying one of their beers, hopefully not the last of course. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beers based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Slovenian beers that I've reviewed for you before. That's being added to whenever I can, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys, and the support that you give the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Pivovarna Pelicon then. So as I mentioned to you, Pivovarna Pelicon are based in Ajdovščina, which is a small town of around 6,700 people in the Vipava Valley in the southwest of Slovenia. It's only about 20 kilometres or so from the Italian border, but this brewery was established back in 2013 by Mate Pelican and Anita Lazar, but they actually set up this brewery using Kickstarter. They were the very first brewery in Europe to actually do it that way, which is really quite cool, so very unique in that regard. Unfortunately the brewery don't do tours apart from in December, but you can go to a very local beer shop called Falador and you can arrange a beer tasting with the guys from the brewery. They actually host their own beer market outside the brewery as well from October onwards. I think it goes up until around Christmas time, but they're a brewery that are very highly regarded in Slovenia. There wasn't too much information available on these guys actually, but they do produce some really quite good beers. Davor tells me that they're really quite highly rated within Slovenia, but that's all you need to know about the brewery just now. Very unique business model, and they're producing some pretty good beer. Slovenia of course is meant to be a very beautiful country. The people that I've met there from there of course have all been really quite nice, so it's somewhere that I do recommend you go, and you will be able to get some really quite nice beer as well. Just to list the other beers you can get from these guys then, they've got a coffee stout, they've got the one that's called Out of China, which is an amber ale. They do that because they say on the website that a lot of foreigners pronounce it, they say the way you pronounce this place is like out of China, but I think the correct pronunciation is Ajdovščina of course. But they have the Pilon Saison, they have this one here, the Quantum Double IPA of course, the stout, the Third Pill, which was the IPA I tried for you before. That's a really nice, easy going, very sessionable beer, and they do have the Yes Boss too, which is an APA. That one is supposed to be a really nice beer as well. So hopefully I can return to these guys in the fairly near future and try one of their stouts as well, but this one should be a really quite good beer. This one, as I mentioned to you, is an 8% double IPA, and this one won an award. I think it was the best beer of the Ljubljana Beer Festival back in 2015, so really quite a good beer this one. Like I said, it got 93 overall on rate beer and 47 within the style, so it should be very quirky within that double IPA category, but definitely looking forward to trying this one. And like I said, a huge thank you to Davor for sending this one over to Scotland for me. So yeah, looking forward to this. There you can see it's the standard style of artwork that you're going to get from Pelican. Their beer labels are pretty simple, but I do find them quite tasteful. This one has just a plain bottle cap on it. I think the other one did as well, if I'm not mistaken, but it would actually be quite cool if they did a black one with that sort of silver writing to it, or if they did one with a pelican on it of course. But yeah, really nice looking beer this one. It says best before June. Oh no wait, I don't know what that means. I don't really understand Slovenian. A lot of the viewers from Slovenia told me I'm good at pronouncing some of the Slovenian places and things like that, but I really don't know the language at all. But yeah, this one, as I said, 8% double IPA. So without further ado then, we'll get it open and see how we get on. Really looking forward to this one. So yeah, nice smoky opening there, and we'll get it out and into the glass. So yeah, as you'd expect from this one, it's a really nice kind of pale golden colour. It looks really nice. Yeah, so like I said, 8% ABV this beer. The light in this video has been a little bit funny, I'm not sure exactly why, but you can see there, if I bring it up to the light, it's a lovely kind of blood orange colour, this one. It's a nice kind of blood orange sort of juicy thing. It is quite clear actually, if I put my fingers behind the glass, you can maybe see there, it is quite a clear looking beer, this one. There's a solid finger of a frothy white head in there, but it looks really quite nice. So one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head. The head it has a little bit of a creamy tint to it, but it is almost a perfect white head. There's some really nice hoppy characters coming out of this as well. It's mainly, you can smell a little bit of that nice floral character in there, and a little bit of juicy fruit. So yeah, really nice looking beer this. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then, and see how we get on. Yeah, now that's really quite interesting. So it's a big fruity IPA, as you would expect. So there's a sort of peachy and apricotty thing. I'm getting a little bit of orange out of this one actually. I'm getting some oranges, some peaches and apricots. On the back end of it, there's definitely some kind of lychees in there as well. There's a sort of tropical backbone to it, I think. Maybe some passion fruit or a little bit of grapefruit, something like that. But yeah, some nice I do think there's a bit of orange in there. Definitely some kind of peachy and apricot. It's got these lighter kind of tropical fruit notes in it. A little bit of lychees, like I was saying. Yeah, some nice floral aromaticity. A little bit of lighter grassy note, and you can smell some of that bigger, slightly boozy character that you'd expect from the double IPA. It's got a little bit of caramel and some kind of nice biscuity, sweet malty characters in there as well. But overall it smells like a really quite nice beer. You can smell a little bit of breadiness as well. But yeah, as I always say, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of your beers before you actually try them. For me, this one has the kind of typical note of the double IPA. Like I said with the third pill was a kind of straight up IPA, but it was just crafted very, very well, and I do wonder if this is how this one's going to be as well. It's not going to be too punchy, I think, in any one regard, but it's just going to go together really nicely, and everything will just blend together very, very well. So let's see how we get on with it then. So this one is the Quantum Double IPA from Pivovarna Pelicon in Ajdovščina over in Slovenia. So as they say in Slovenia, na zdravje. Once again, thanks to Davor for sending me over this beer. Skål, slange. That's pretty nice. Yeah, you know, it really reminds me a little bit of the third pill. It's got the same feel to it, you know. It must just be the kind of trademark of how this brewery kind of do things, and that is cool. When you try a couple of beers from a brewery, you start to pick up some of the traits of the brewer actually. So it's almost just like the big brother of the third pill a little bit. It's got that nice kind of easy drinking sort of feel to it. It's really well done. As I always say with these beers, sugar it around your palate a little bit and let the whole mouth adjust before you start analysing the beer too much. But there's a lot of stuff going on in this. So as you'd expect from the malt base, there's a little bit of a pale malt character, just blankets the middle of your tongue. On top of that, you start to get some of these kind of more biscuity, kind of grainy elements to it, and it works really quite nicely actually. You can feel some of that, there's a little bit of cereally dryness as you progress further into the flavour. There's a good bit of a kind of sweet, boozy caramel in there as well. But yeah, it is nicely done. So with this one, it's the tropical fruits, the lighter kind of tropical fruits start to come out a little bit later on. So as you'd expect, I'm getting a little bit of earthiness in the back corner of the palate. As you come further forward, you can feel a little bit of that nice kind of floral, aromatic, spicy character. It's more of a spicy floral note that's coming out of this one. There's not too much in the way of pine resins. It feels distinctively more kind of spicy and floral to me, and around the front curve of the tongue, it's a little bit lighter and more grassy. but it's a really, really quite nice beer. If you go behind the front curve of the tongue, that's where I always say you get these nice little kind of tropical fruit notes coming out of it. There's a bit of grapefruit there just kind of underpinning it, maybe a little bit of passion fruit or something like that. I think it's mainly grapefruit though. There's a wee tiny little bit of orange, which makes me think maybe there's a little bit of Amarillo in there. It's not Mosaic or anything like that. It's not quite got the juiciness that you'd expect from Mosaic, but as you progress further and further into this beer, it's got this interesting kind of peachy and apricot-y note coming out of it. I do wonder if they've maybe used one of the Slovenian hops in this. I mean, you get the Salaya and the Styrian Wolf and things like that. The Styrian Wolf is an awesome, awesome hop, by the way. The Slovenians have some great hops there. But of course it's a small country geographically, so the production of these isn't too big, and that's why they're a little bit rare to find when it comes to home brewing and things. But it reminds me, a beer that I had before, which was from Oedipus in the Netherlands, it had, the Slovenian high acid hops had this nice juicy fruity character to them, and the peachy and apricot notes that you get out of this one, it really does remind me of that a little bit actually. It's a really interesting kind of flavour combination that you're getting out of this, but to me it's definitely peaches and apricots. There's almost a little bit of a kind of berryish character coming out of it at the end. It's got a little bit of that almost slightly reddish candied fruit character there as well, which is really interesting. I can't think of an IPA where I've had that before, but it's really nice. You can see as I've poured the last little bit of it in, it's just become that little bit more hazy, but overall this is a really nice beer. It is like the third pill in that way. Everything just kind of blends together quite well. Some of the kind of biscuity graininess that you're getting from this one, it blends together well with the sort of floral aromatic character that the beer has. But yeah, there's definitely a little bit of a kind of candied fruity character to this one in the aftertaste. Like I said, these fruity juicy notes progresses this one going along. It's definitely peaches and apricots, and there's a little bit of lychee coming out of this as well, which is really quite interesting. But mainly you can feel that big sort of grapefruity, passion fruity backbone to this one, and it works well for this beer actually. It kind of blends together well with that nice kind of floral aromatic spice that it has. So overall I'd say this one leans towards the kind of darker tropical fruits, and as it progresses it gets a little bit more into these nice lighter, juicier things that you're going to get. But as I said, overall it's a really quite nice beer. It's not quite as fruity and juicy as some of these New England IPAs that you're going to come across. It's more along the lines of a nice kind of West Coast double IPA, but the hoppy character that it has is a little bit different just due to the flavours. As I say, I do wonder if they've used a Slovenian hop variety in there, but like I said, the main point to take away from this one is that it's another very, very solid beer from these guys. You know, if you tried this beer back in like 2010, 2011, this would be one of the ones that at that time it would really be like a kind of a revolution, if you like. It would kind of blow your mind in that way. These days, to me, it's a bit more like a kind of nostalgic one. This kind of reminds me a little bit of some of the first double IPAs that I drank, like the hardcore IPA and things. It's got that kind of similar feel to it actually, but it's really nice, and I do like visiting beers that give you that kind of feel. But yeah, if you get the chance to try something from this brewery, I really recommend that you do. They do just the two beers that I've had so far, they've both been IPAs, but I've been very impressed with these. Hopefully I can try one of their darker beers at some point soon and see how they do with the other end of the scale. As I always say, what you want to do when you're trying a new brewery, of course, you want to try one of their lighter beers, like an IPA or a double IPA or something like that, and you want to try something at the completely opposite end of the scale, like a Russian Imperial Stout or something like that. But with the two lighter beers that I've had from Pivovarna Pelicon, they do seem to do a pretty awesome job. So if you find yourself in Slovenia, do pick up some of these beers. And they do seem to find their way out of Slovenia at different points as well. So keep an eye out for them. This is a brewery I do recommend that you try. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one, I would say it's mid-bodied. I think it's fair to say that this beer is mid-bodied. The carbonation on this one's quite smooth. It does lean more towards the oily side of things, I would say. There's a good bit of hoppy bitterness. The malt base has a little bit of sweetness too, but there's a little bit of grainy cereally character in there, and some nice sort of juicy fruits as well. But overall, like I said, This is a really quite interesting beer, this one. It's a straight up kind of a little bit of a nostalgic double IPA. Actually, like I said, it reminds me a little bit of hardcore IPA, or some of it's like a slightly bigger brother of some of the things like the Maximus from Lagunitas or something like that. It's more, this IPA reminds me of the kind of groundbreaking things that you're going to get back in 2010, 2011. So if you like that sort of thing, I think you really will enjoy this one. I do suspect there's a little bit of a Slovenian hop in there as well, which is giving it these nice kind of juicy peachy apricot flavours as well, so it starts to get a little bit more complex in the aftertaste. So if it sounds like it hits the spot for you, I'm sure it will. This is a really good quality brewery. So yeah, it's been really cool to return to Pivovarna Pelicon once again. If you get the chance to try some of their beers, I highly recommend that you do. A huge thank you once again to Davor for sending this one over to me, and I'm glad that I got to review this one for you guys on the channel. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you very soon with more beers from the Davor box. So yeah, thank you once again for watching. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out my social media. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. It's always great to hear from you guys. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Pivovarna Pelicon, of course, and do get in touch with your recommendations of some Slovenian breweries. Davor, of course, has sent me a few more Slovenian beers to review for you. So thank you once again for watching. Thank you to Davor for sending this beer, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Quantum Double IPA from Pivovarna Pelicon in Ajdovščina in southwestern Slovenia. Na zdravje!